Hi everyone, it's Miss Jenny, and over here is my Rosie. Rosie, can you come over here for just a minute? See her nose? Say hi. I'm Rosie. This is one of Rosie's favorite treats. She loves cheese. You can see she's already sitting down and saying please. She loves cheese so much, it's really hard for her to wait to get some. So let's see how patient Rosie can be. Can you leave it? What do you think? Oh, not yet. Oh, can you leave it? It's really hard for her to wait for her favorite snack. Sometimes waiting can be really hard for all of us. In our Bible lesson today, we are going to learn about how hard it was for Abraham and Sarah to wait for the promises of God. Sometimes we think there's no way that God could be taking this long. Something must have happened. Maybe I need to think of a different plan. But we're going to learn today that Abraham and his wife Sarah thought they might have a better plan than God, and it didn't turn out quite the way they wanted. So I think my girl has waited long enough, don't you think? Can I have a paw? Can I have your paw? Good girl, good girl. There you go. I'll see you soon, friends.
Hey everybody, let's go ahead and let's sing a song together. It's falling from the clouds, a strange and lovely sound. I hear it in the thunder and the rain. It's ringing in the sky like cannons in the night, as the music of the universe plays. Here we go. Singing, you are holy, great and mighty. The moon and the stars declare who you are. I'm so unworthy, but still you love me. Forever my heart will sing of how great you are. Beautiful and free, the song of galaxies, it's reaching far beyond the Milky Way. Let's join in with the sound. Come on, let's sing it loud as the music of the universe plays. We're singing, you are holy, great and mighty. The moon and the stars declare who you are. I'm so unworthy, but still you love me. Forever my heart will sing of you. All glory, honor, power is yours, amen. All glory, honor, power is yours, amen. All glory, honor, power is yours, forever, amen. You are holy, great and mighty. The moon and the stars declare who you are. I'm so unworthy, but still you love me. Forever my heart will sing of you. You are holy, great and mighty. The moon and the stars declare who you are. I'm so unworthy, but still you love me. Forever my heart will sing of how great you are. All right, everyone, we're going to be throwing it back to an oldie but a goodie. And if you know me, I really like this song, so you better sing it nice and loud. Here we go. We're going to start it off very slow. Here we go. I I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I got love. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I got joy. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. What do you think? Do you think they got it?
I think so. Go a little faster.
Think we're ready to speed this bad boy up a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. In my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I got love. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. In my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I got joy. I've got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. In my soul. I got joy like a fountain. Joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I'm pretty tired. You think we can go any faster?
Maybe a little.
What do you guys think?
I don't know.
I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. In my soul. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got love. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. Can't hear you. Love like an ocean in my soul. In my soul. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got joy. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. In my soul. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. Hey! Good job, everybody.
Boys and girls, and welcome. Today's Bible lesson comes from Genesis chapters 16, 17, and 21. Today's Bible story is about waiting and trusting in the Lord. Whether we're waiting for something small like the pizza man to come, or a trip to Disney World, or we're waiting for something like we're all waiting for right now, which is a day where we can come together without masks in our regular classrooms and be together face to face. It's really important to trust in the Lord and His timing. And it's really difficult to practice trusting in the Lord without praying every day and being in God's Word and studying it. Seeing how waiting on His promises was difficult even for people in the Bible, but how God always keeps His promises. And Abraham and Sarai are going to learn that lesson in today's Bible story. I want you to remember that God promised Abraham in His special covenant that he would have a child. But Abraham and Sarai still had no children. Sarai decided that she was going to try to solve the problem on her own. So she says to Abraham, "Since the Lord has prevented me from having any children, go to my servant, Hagar. Maybe I can build a family through her." Now, this is very unusual, especially to us, because we don't have servants, and also because in the time that Abraham and Sarai lived, they believed that anything that belonged to their servant would belong to them. So this is why Sarai feels if her servant Hagar has a child, that child would be hers. And Abraham agrees to this plan and marries Hagar. Now, when Hagar becomes pregnant, she begins to treat Sarai with what the Bible calls disrespect. And this makes Sarai very upset. So she complains to her husband about Hagar, and he says, do whatever you want with her. Maybe he means you can send her away, or you can treat her however you feel is right. And Sarai begins to mistreat Hagar. She bullies her until Hagar runs away. Hagar runs into the wilderness. And while she's there, an angel of the Lord finds her near a spring of water. And he says to her, Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going? Hagar replies, I'm running away from my mistress Sarai. The angel of the Lord told Hagar that she needed to return to Abraham and Sarai and do whatever Sarai said. Then the angel gave Hagar a promise. I will greatly multiply your offspring. That means give you many, many children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. You have conceived and will have a son. That means that the baby that she's carrying is a boy. The angel of the Lord told Hagar to name her son Ishmael, because the Lord had heard her cry of affliction, and affliction is a big word that means pain or suffering. He also told her that Ishmael would always be hostile. And hostile is a word that means someone who is angry and fights a lot. He fights with many people, including his own family. So Hagar did return home, and she did have her son and name him Ishmael. When this happened, Abraham was 86 years old. But now he had a son. Had Sarah's plan worked? Was that really what God had wanted? Ishmael was not the son that God would choose to be part of his special covenant with Abraham. Abraham and Sarai continued to wait for 14 more years for God to give them their promised son. One day, God appeared to Abraham and told him that he was changing Sarai's name to Sarah, which means princess. God said, I will bless her indeed, and I will give you a son by her. She will be remembered because her descendants will include entire nations and kings. Abraham laughed because at this point he was 100 years old and Sarah was 90 years old. How could Abraham and Sarah be parents when they were so old? Abraham wanted God to bless his son Ishmael instead, but God told Abraham that was not his plan. In 1 year, Sarah will have a son, God said, and I want you to name him Isaac. I will confirm my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant. So a promise for all time, friends, for his future offspring. Again, offspring is that word that means children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. As for Ishmael, God said he would bless him too, but the covenant, the special promise, was only for Isaac and his offspring. 1 year later, God kept his promise with Abraham and Sarah and gave them a son. They did name him Isaac, just as God had instructed. Abraham learned that God is always faithful to keep his covenant, and that everyone should always trust God. Boys and girls, it's easy to think that Sarai had acted foolishly in today's Bible story, that it would be easy for us in her situation to have waited and trusted. But we're often like Sarah. We get impatient with God. We want our answers as soon as possible. Even now, many of us are waiting and wondering why it's taking so long for the coronavirus to go away, and why can't we just go to the park or go visit our friends just the way we always do. But we need to wait and trust on God's timing. It's difficult to know what to do when we're supposed to wait, how we should act, but I do think it's important to look to God's word. So here are a few Bible verses to help encourage us when we're trying to wait patiently. Psalm 27:14 says, Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. And again in Isaiah 40:31, the Lord writes, "Yet those who wait for the Lord will gain new strength. They will mount up on wings like eagles. They will run and not get tired. They will walk and not become weary." Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths." In Matthew 6:33-34, we read, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." Remember, boys and girls, that God fulfilled his promise to Abraham by giving him a son, even though he had to wait a really long time. Isaac was the hope of Abraham and Sarah for the future and for fulfillment of the promise that their descendants would be as numerous as the stars. God fulfilled his promise to the world by sending his son, Jesus. Jesus ultimately fulfilled God's promise to Abraham. And because of him, there is hope for the world, for salvation and redemption. And we need to be patient even now and trust in God's promises.
Hi boys and girls, I have your craft today, but first I wanted to show you a couple bracelets that I wear. And if you look at this one, this black one up close has a dolphin in it. And this reminds me of a trip I took to Buffalo and went to the aquarium in Buffalo, New York. This other one with the heart, my daughter brought home with her from Guatemala when she was on a missions trip there last summer. So these are both very near and dear to my heart, and they bring great memories to me. One of that trip when my daughter turned 21, and the other one when my daughter was in Guatemala. It also reminds me to pray for them. So I'll pray for, when I see this, I'll pray for my daughter who's just turned 21 last year. And this one I'll pray for my daughter who went to Guatemala. So we're going to make a bracelet today also. And here are the supplies. We need a pair of scissors. We need some string. And I have black string here. And we need some beads. Now I have pony beads, but you can use any bead you want. And if you notice, I have some beads here that are red and white, and then you can see that there are some gray ones and black ones and blue ones, brown. They can be used more for boys if boys would like to make their bracelets. But we're going to make 2 bracelets today. And that's the supplies we need. So first thing, you need to take your black yarn. In my case, it's black. You can use a cotton twine, or you can even use yarn if mom has some yarn around. And you want to kind of get an estimate by just wrapping it around your arm and cutting it to the size you need. So I've already done this. This is going to be a whole lot bigger than the one you're going to measure and cut. And what I'm going to do is, because I'm not going to fill this whole thing up with beads. You can if you want, but I'm not going to, just for the sake of time. And I'm going to put a knot in one end. And this knot is probably about 3 inches in from the side. And I'm going to make it fairly large because I don't really want the beads to fall off. And pony beads, which are the beads that I'm using, have big holes, so they can do that. The first thing I'm going to start is with a red bead, but you can pick any color you want. And then I'm going to pick a white bead and another red bead and another white bead and another red bead. I love making bracelets. I love making necklaces. You could do a necklace also if you had enough yarn and string. So I have about 7. Let's put another couple on here. 8, 9. And then I'm going to put another knot here at the end, just so that they can't go sliding back and forth, back and forth. So there, I have them, and they're pretty secure there. They're still going to probably slide over the knots, because this one I didn't get right. Let me put another knot in there. There. And that will hold it. And then you can just bring them back and tie them in a knot back here. Just like that. Put them around your arm. Now I tied a few too many knots, and then tied in a knot there, and you have a really pretty bracelet. So that's bracelet number 1. Now I'm going to go to bracelet number 2. And I'm going to do the same sort of thing. I'm going to tie some knots in it. And this is really not a string. It's kind of like a plastic, I don't know, lanyard maybe. But it's working perfectly for what I need it to do. Now I'm going to go with darker colors. So I'm going to put, here's a brown one. And I can put a white one on here. And I have a gray one. And another white one. Here's a tannish one. Okay, if I have white, here's another white one. And if you're going to be sharing your bracelet with a boy, you probably don't want to have a whole lot of beads on it. So here you can take this, and notice I have 7 little beads on there. So I'm going to tie it in a knot right here, so that they can't fall off. So easily. Then I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to try to tie it back here. I always need my teeth to help me tie knots. How about you? Just don't pull on them, because you don't want to have to make a trip to the dentist. All right, so now I have one on, and this is going to remind me to pray for you. But this week we talked about a covenant, and who can remember what a covenant is? It's a promise. And so my covenant to you is every time I see this bracelet, I am going to pray for you. And then I'm going to give you this bracelet, so that every time you see this, you make a covenant to pray for me for 1 week. Who here thinks that they can make that covenant and pray for me? If you think you can, then this bracelet is for you. So you make your 2 bracelets and make a covenant with a friend or your sister or your brother or your mom or dad. And that covenant is for you to pray for them every time you see your bracelet for 1 week. And they make a covenant to pray for you for 1 week also. 1 week's not a long time, and you'll find that they'll be blessed and you'll be blessed by praying. So that's our covenant bracelet for this week, and I hope you enjoy doing it. I hope you do it, and I hope you make that covenant with somebody. So I hope you have a great week and try to stay cool. Go out under the hose or the fire plug. We used to do fire plugs when I was a kid. And then, or your pool in your backyard. So stay cool and just have a great week, and I will see you next week. Bye.
Do you know which way you were going? If you had one of these, you would. It was invented over 1,000 years ago. Do you know what it is? That's right. It's a compass. It's based on magnetism, and that magnets are attracted to one another. You see, the Earth is like a big magnet, and the magnetized needle on the compass aligns itself with the magnetic field of the Earth, and it points to north every time. So, since we can find north, we can also find south and east and west and every point in between. So, if you want to know which way you are going, or which way you have gone before, or if you want to know which way to go to find a certain destination, you can trust your compass. Many an explorer would say, always trust your compass. Even when you think another way would be better, compass gives true direction. You know, this compass reminds me of our key verse. We introduced it last week. Did you memorize it? Let's look at it again.
Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths.
Verse 6 says, in all your ways acknowledge him. What does this mean? It means wherever you are, whether you're at school, at church, whether you're with your friends, you're with your grandparents, with your mom and dad, your brothers and sisters, you're at the store, or you're at work, whatever you're doing, that you should always know that God is with you. You should take God wherever you go. He wants to be with you. You are His special creation. Now the promise. If you do these things, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge God, and He shall direct your paths. That's a promise from God. God will guide you. He will show you the way you should go. Just like our compass. Life can be hard. We need to trust in the Lord, and He will direct our paths. Do you know the way you are going? Click. In life, we need to trust the Lord with all our heart. Like a hiker in the woods needs to rely on his compass to get to his destination, we need to trust in the Lord with all our heart. God is the most important thing. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. God's way is the right way. Our ways are wrong. God made us. He knows what's best for us. You know, sometimes we want to do things our own way. We don't trust in the Lord with all our heart. In the Bible lesson, we saw that Abraham and Sarah didn't wait for God and did what was right in their own eyes and tried to have the promised son their way. What would happen to someone in the wilderness who decided not to trust his compass, but went the way that he thought was best? What would happen? Well, he might not find his destination, or water, or food. Just like you should trust your compass, which gives true direction, we should trust in the Lord with all our heart.